They didn't have to worry about hurry up offense. And the first game versus Texas A&M was an outlier because it was a windy game, right? So I'm just going to take that whole game and throw it in the trash because it wasn't, under playable conditions for the most part. It was really tough for either team to score. But versus Ohio State, cool. You already knew what it was. You was playing against a statue of a quarterback insane. He wasn't going to go anywhere. The pass rush was going to come. He was going to become afraid. He was going to stay there, and he was going to do stupid shit like we saw him do. Once again, I don't think that's going to be the case here with Chamberlain. I like Ole Miss. I do. I'm right. I like Ole Miss to find a way to get this done. I think it's going to be a relatively close game when it's all said and done. But I think that Ole Miss will find a way to prevail, wear out that defense completely to where those guys are completely gassed on that defensive line. And also, I think what's going to happen too, and this will be my last point, I think what Miami is going to do is they're going to have their pass rush is going to get upfield, right? And what I mean by upfield, they're trying to sack the shit out of Chamberlain. Mm-hmm. And once again, alluding to my point of Chamberlain moving the pocket. And then once that happens, check downs, tight ends become open. Lacey becomes open out in the flats. And now you got guys just running all over the fucking place, and the defense is absolutely tired. So I believe that that's how it's going to go. I like Ole Miss to get it done because I think that they're going to wear out Miami's defense. Now, when Miami gets the ball, they're going to try to keep him on the sideline as much as they can, Chamberlain. So I think they're going to run the football, right? But it's only so much running you could do with the football if you're trailing in a football game. All right. So eventually, I think the game plan should be that Ole Miss strike while the iron is hot to kind of take Miami out of the situation of running the football and put the football into Carson Beck's hands. And we know what happens when Carson Beck has to make decisions down the field with throwing the football. It doesn't turn out pretty. So that's my thoughts. I like Ole Miss to get job done.
For sure. Let's go to Sosa since this guy get out of here, and then we'll go to Chuck.
No. I'll be here for a little bit. Let Charles go.
All right.
Pulling up a receipt real quick.
All right, Charles, go ahead.
This guy's funny, man. I kind of idea what he's going to do, too.
He's always got something, that's for sure.
Yeah, he definitely got something up his sleeve. But yeah, man, listen, I hear folks on who they say, who think Ole Miss going to win the game. My thing is this, like, I'm a push back on the whole Miami SMU game. Like, Miami didn't go back and learn from that game as far as how to play against a mobile quarterback. You gotta be mistaken. Now, granted, yes, that Texas A&M game, yeah, I mean it was windy. I guess you could throw it out a little bit, but Marcel Reed is a mobile quarterback. You know, they already faced against one of those. So I mean, we're gonna get that out the way. Next up, man. Miami, they just too good on the trenches on both sides of the ball. I know they play in the ACC, but all that conference playing stuff, that's out the window in this format at this point in the season. And if you really want to go there, like the SEC, I'm an SEC guy, of course, because my team plays in the SEC, but we've been ass. We've been ass throughout bowl season and playoffs, bro. Like Ole Miss is the only team left. And I just don't think the only way Ole Miss will have a shot is that they got to dictate the pace throughout the whole game. And I just don't think they'll be able to dictate the pace throughout the whole game against this Miami front seven. We see instances where you see Bain or Mesdor had to come out the game and stuff, but let's not act like Miami can't rotate guys in. And let's not act like Miami's not going to throw like different twists and stunts. It's going to be interesting to see if Chamberlain has the ability to read front sevens in this one. I think Miami going to throw all kinds of looks that Chamberlain ain't really seen. For real. At the end of the day, Miami, they should be able to control the clock, control the line of scrimmage, and methodically drive the ball down the field. And if that run game gets going, this should definitely set up play action for Carson Beck to get some explosives. And like Miami is facing against an Ole Miss secondary that's weaker than Ohio State and Texas A&M. So that's going to give them many opportunities for them to have some explosive plays in this one. I think Miami belts them. If they can hold Ohio State to like less than 20 points, what do you think they about to do to Ole Miss tonight? I'll leave it at that.
Chuck, real quick. Real quick, too, I want to say this for you, Chuck. All right, so you said about Marcel Reed being a mobile quarterback. Absolutely right? He rushed the football in that game 15 times for 27 yards. But also, what do we know about Marcel Reed? He's cross-eyed like a motherfucker. He threw 2 picks and no touchdowns, bro. You're not going to see Chamberlain do that, bro. So, like, what do we like when you're comparing Marcel Reed? We know that he is a interception throwing machine. You know what I mean? So, I just want to kind of put that out there.
And then
I want to put. Hold on. Let me push back on that too, because hold on, real quick, real quick, because some people had Marcel Reed in the Heisman race for a high second. Let's not forget that. Let's not get that now. And look, Shameless, he's a guy he's hard to turn over. You know what I'm saying? He takes care of the ball and stuff. But again, it wouldn't surprise you if he threw 2 picks for the first time all season long. I'm just saying. This is a totally different style of football that Ole Miss is going against.
What does the entire SEC got to do with Ole Miss? Like, what is the SEC?
They're the last team standing from the best conference in America.
And I clearly said that.
Hold on. For anybody who wants to know, didn't Ole Miss have to take out 2 SEC teams to get here?
No, they had to beat Tulane, but
one.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's one, brother.
But I mean, regardless, it's the SEC champion.
Like, what does that got to do right now?
Hold on. Let me hear what Sos has to say before his hand gets too tired.
Let me see, just a real quick. Just want to recap 2 things, okay? Because I know it's a "what have you done for me lately" thing. Last year on September 14th, 2024, I told a space hosted by Low Sports Picks that the national championship game would be Ohio State and Notre Dame. It gets better.
Uh-oh.
It gets better. On September 23rd this year, I said that Miami was the best matchup for Ohio State and they would be in the national championship. I also said at the beginning of bowl season that Oregon would play Miami, or not play Miami, they would win the national championship. So if we're talking about what have you done for me lately or 4 months ago, let's say I'm right there.
Sosa did. He did say that.
No, I'm going to say it again. On September, hold on, let me get the right date. On September 14th of last year, I predicted the 2 teams that would play in the national championship in January. In case you need to know my track record when it comes to this shit.
That's crazy. That's actually insane. Couldn't be me.
Yeah, I can definitely confirm that because I was in the space.
Couldn't be me.
So
yeah, he actually had Miami and Ohio State playing for national championship, so he's not far off at all. Miami's still alive.
That would have been crazy. A rematch of what was that, 03? 2002, 03? Ghost.
Yeah, I just want to kind of go back to I think it was Trey that was talking about why we bringing up like the old games in the SEC. I think
I asked Chuck because Chuck said the SEC has been bad. What is the SEC? What is the entire SEC got to do with Ole Miss playing tonight?
Well, my rebuttal would be like, what is the fucking SMU Louisville game from a month and a half ago
You
have
a great case in point because I did not even bring that up.
No. I'm just saying in general. I feel like every single time people have been wanting to bet against Miami or want to give any type of reasoning against Miami, people have brought up that Louisville or SMU game, and it's like,
yeah, like who gives a fuck? You can say it. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
You can say it. You niggas is scared to say it. Who gives a fuck about Ole Miss against Louisville?
I just said that.
Who gives a single
I just
fuck?
said that. And let's talk about that. And that Louisville game is on a Friday night. Y'all know how Friday night games go.
Nigga, is Brown coaching tonight? No, who gives a fuck?
Come on, man.
So yeah, it goes both ways. I'm just wondering about what is the SEC entirety's less than got to do with the price of tea in China, Chuck?
I only think he brought it up because Ole Miss ended up beating the best team from the regular season in that conference.
That's fine. Don't bring up the whole entire SEC just because.
Hey, Shambliss just got a bag. You think he's less motivated to play tonight? Just asking. Stupid questions.
Yeah, dude was playing D2 last year and then ended up making
Yeah, but he just got
$4
secured
million.
financially for life.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So I'm just
Is
waiting.
it going to be the same hungry kid we saw against Georgia?
How many D2 championships did he win, by the way? 2 at Ferris
No
State.
clue.
No, Ferris is like that. So people don't know. Yeah, Ferris is like that. They just won another one this year. So
Yeah, for sure.
they built some players. But that's the main point. I'm not sitting over here saying that one thing is, but these are two different teams. They represent a
You actually are. And that's the cool part.
No,
Is like everybody's
How
entitled
in
to
the
an
world am I?
opinion.
Please have this conversation with me. How is it that we're talking about two different conferences? Are we talking about Miami or we're talking about Ole Miss? Are we talking about ACC versus SEC?
I have a question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck does the conference matter? Because everybody used to just be
That's
out
my
here dick riding the SEC. No, hold on. Because it used to be the SEC is greatest. The SEC is the greatest. Nobody can beat the SEC. As soon as everybody can pay people, it's fuck the SEC. They don't even do nothing.
Hey, it just means
So
more.
who gives a fuck about the conference if we're keeping it G?
That's the fact. But that's the thing about me. I don't bring up conferences. I look at the team as it is. The same thing that we talking about. Why are we talking about the SEC? Is the exact same.
I'm looking for the big people in the trenches. Miami's big people in the trenches scare me a little bit more than the big people in the trenches for Mississippi. That's why I'm taking Miami. They got the imposing bigger people.
Again, Sosa, you're missing my whole case in point has nothing to do with you. It's got everything to do with Chuck because Chuck brought it up. Chuck ain't said nothing.
Yeah, I brought it up because I believe Fishy was talking about how Miami lost to Louisville. Not Louisville, but SMU.
Yeah.
SMU, which is an ACC opponent. I'm like, bro, like that ain't got nothing to do with this stage.
I bring up games when I bring up games. That's what we have to go by. They played those games, and the way that they lost those games is turnovers and mobile quarterbacks. Am I wrong?
Okay, but you think Ole Miss? You think wait, time out. And you think Ole Miss? And you think Ole Miss's defense? And you think Ole Miss's defense is capable of turning over Carson Beck like that tonight?
Yes, SMU and Louisville's defense are worse than Ole Miss's.
Way
I mean,
worse.
Georgia put up a bunch of points on Ole Miss last game.
SMU finished with the second to bottom. SMU finished with second to bottom passing defense in the entire country.
Exactly.
What about Ohio State?
Like, why would Ole Miss not be able to turn the ball over, not be able to turn over?
Hey, hold on.
When SMU and Louisville both kicked them off twice.
Hold on. We got a fallacy that's been told in the space. Because this is why I don't listen to niggas. Okay? Ken Jennings against the Miami defense had -8 fucking rushing yards for the game. They really struggled with his mobility, let me tell you. 8 carries for -8 yards. Oh my God. He went for 365 in the air though. But man, did they struggle with that mobile quarterback, y'all. Let me tell you, to the tune of a whole -8 fucking yards on 8 carries. Oh my God. They struggled big time against that mobile quarterback for the whole 365 that he threw in the fucking air and the -8 for the 8 carries that he had. Yep. I can just envision it now. It makes perfect sense.
But does he not have a threat of moving? I don't care that he didn't run for any yards. We know that he can run the ball. Am I wrong?
I think the argument was that he can move the pocket.
Yeah, he got sacked. I don't even think he had a design running that.
More of a pocket guy.
Okay, so you're telling me to take Trinidad's rushing yards tonight, is what you're saying.
Absolutely not.
Maybe I'm just hating. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hating. Maybe that might be it. Maybe I've just developed a level of hate for no reason. I don't know. I'm all fucked up now, man.
I think it's valid, but I'll get to my point in a second. Sean, good evening.
Hey, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
My bad. I'm driving, so if I cut out, bear with me.
Yeah, you're good. We're talking about the game tonight.
Yep. So, we're talking about mobile. You guys are talking about mobile quarterbacks and shit, and the SMU quarterback, that Louisville game, things like that. So the only reason which I think Miami wins this game, but the only reason I think Ole Miss, where Ole Miss has a chance at, is because those games you can consider, all those common opponents that you're talking about, you're referencing with mobile quarterbacks, as teams that play with tempo, That's the best chance that they have. Like those teams all have in common is they're like high tempo teams, right? Offenses. So I don't think Miami's like fits to that structure. I guess Ole Miss is more along the lines of a high scoring team. They got a mobile quarterback that can move the ball, that through the air and on the ground. But to me, I think Soso actually just said it too. Like Kevin Jennings, we know he can run the ball, but it's a different story when you try to run against Miami. I mean, you got a pass rush. Miami's known for their front four. They're not known for the back end of that second of their defense. However, the back end of the defense showed up in that game against Ohio State, which now makes you wonder: do they actually have people that can play, and we just didn't see it all year, or is it just Ohio State? They can't run. They can't run offense.
Listen, people. Hold on. People also are lying about Jennings being mobile because he's black. He had 50 fucking rushing yards the entire season. Like, what do y'all? Where are we getting this from? When did y'all see him moving from the pocket? Like when against who? Like y'all watch the play. I'm trying to figure it out.
You said he only had 50 rushing yards all season.
If you watch that game versus Miami, he did move the pocket. He might not have good rushing yards, but he moved that pocket. He went left to right and moved it around. For sure.
Jennings for the season, 70 carries, 51 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns on the season. He had 50 yards the whole year.
Yeah, he's really only a threat to run inside the red zone.
I was going to say my only pushback on that is it's also not a big part of their offense for like a designed run. But that was my only pushback to that.
Also, sacks count negatively to your rushing yards in college football.
This is true.
But,
I have no idea how much he got sacked.
See, my issue with the conversation, like I get why it moves here because it seems to move here pretty often. It gets wishy-washy when you start doing the common opponents and you're like, oh, who have they played, blah 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 blah. To me, that's not really important. I chose Ole Miss because I like the matchups for Ole Miss in this game, and you have to talk about how they've done all season because that's all you have to go off of. But if you're going back to SMU, if you're going back to Louisville, I get it. For Miami, I get it. But this is a different Miami team. I think we can all acknowledge that, while also acknowledging that this is a different Ole Miss team. If we want to go back, Ole Miss almost lost to Washington State. They lost to Georgia. They had multiple games where they didn't end up losing, like Miami lost those 2 games, but they had multiple bad performances. To me, Ole Miss, I like Ole Miss as a matchup advantage because of what I think one other person said, I can't recall, is at the back end of Miami, that is not what they're known for.
Mm-hmm.
They had a decent game against Ohio State, and you can say, wow, they have Jeremiah Smith, they have Carnell Tate, 2 NFL wide receivers. That must mean, they're world beaters. I don't believe that. I think, like I said, Ohio State got their back put up against a wall and didn't really know how to respond. That was more of the matchup issue that I had with the last game. For this game, I think you have so many different wide receivers that you can throw at the wall if you're Ole Miss that you just have there is no way that if we're pushing the ball down the field that you don't spread out the Miami defense. You force yourself away from the pocket, design rollouts, whatnot, and then comes the running game. And I don't think Kewan Lacey rushes for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. But to me, I understand why the Miami defensive front is the talk of this game because it is the most important. I just think we've seen Ole Miss work very well against stunts all year. I think we've seen Ole Miss offensive line be very good in general all year. And I don't think the Miami secondary is equipped to handle the amount of receiving opportunity that we have. We have, like I said, 5 receivers over 500 yards. They spread the wealth. Kewan Lacey gets touches out of the backfield in the receiving game. Yeah, I'll leave it at that for right now.
So, and I'm the one that brought that up about the back end not being there for, in the secondary for Miami. But, they argumentably just took on 2 of the best college receivers. And that's the argument that I would have with that. And to say the front 4 what team this year has Ole Miss faced that has a front four like Miami's? That's going to get pressure on the quarterback like Ruben Bain and Akeem Messidor. I haven't seen that. And everybody that I've talked to has said that, like, Ole Miss is going to win the battle in the trenches. They're used to this. I mean, Miami, is Ole Miss's line better than Notre Dame's line?
No.
Yeah, okay. So
I mean, it's
are they
arguable.
better than Ohio State's line?
It's arguable.
No.
See, I don't
It's
I don't
arguable.
get that.
Nah.
I
No,
think
it
I
is.
think
I
the
mean,
weapons.
you're talking about the team who
man.
allows the fewest pressures in the SEC all
Well,
year.
and and then talk
This
about
is
and
a
then think
fact.
about this. So, you said you have 5 wide receivers, or they have 5 wide receivers that have went for over 500 yards, right?
And
So,
so
what
so
guys have they faced on the opposite side of the ball all year that have the skill set that Miami would have, as in C.J. Daniels, as in Malachi Toney, and then you got Fletcher as well. So what are they? I guess what position do you give the edge to at Ole Miss? That's what I'd want to know.
okay, for what position I give the edge to, I don't think that necessarily matters. I'm talking about from a game plan perspective that Ole Miss has, in my opinion, a better route to victory in this game. Because you can talk, like, I agree with you. Ole Miss or Ohio State has better, has Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, like I just said, 2 NFL wide receivers. They have more behind them. They have a solid tight end, Max Clare. It's just a matter of scheme. That is the biggest thing here. I'm not talking about they're going to out talent them. I don't think any team currently in the playoff is going to out talent any other team. My thing is, they spread out defenses like at least top 3 in the league currently in the not National Football League. What am I saying? College football. I don't think Miami they didn't have to worry about that against Ohio State. Ohio State was the slowest offense in football. That's why I think the matchup went so well for Miami, is because they're essentially, I would say, an Ohio State junior, but they beat them. So an Ohio State senior. It's the same. They're a rhythm offense. They do have Malachi Toney, CJ Daniels. Love those guys. They are a very talented wide receiver duo, but their offense is rhythm. It's running the football, getting Carson Beck these looks after defenses respect the run game. It's this kind of thing. And I think if you're putting pressure on a Miami offense to go down and score, that is where the matchup issues start to show for Miami, where we didn't see it versus an Ohio State and where we didn't see it versus a Texas A&M.
And what do you mean you didn't see it in the Ohio State game?
Well, because Ohio State had to play from behind, so they had to abandon what they had done all year on offense and had to go into territory that they hadn't seen. Not even in the Indiana game, because in the Indiana game they weren't playing from behind 2 touchdowns in the second half.
Okay, I get what you're saying there. I do think that Ohio State, though, from the defensive side of the ball, is far better than Ole Miss.
If you're talking from a talent,
Every
yes.
position there is.
If you're talking from a talent and a scheme perspective, I 100% agree with you. I don't think it's arguable that Ole Miss is to Ohio State's level in aspect. But I'm not arguing that. I'm saying that this game and the matchups for this game, I think Miami will be able to succeed on offense more so than it could against Ohio State. But what I'm saying is we could see where Ole Miss is able to take advantage of their secondary. And I'm not saying Miami's secondary is, mincemeat, but it's there are definitely holes, and we've seen that throughout the season. So if you're taking on 5 different wide receivers who all relatively could get the ball on any given play, and a running back who could do the exact same thing, it's going to spread out that defense in a way they probably haven't seen. You could argue SMU. I don't want to go all the way back to that. We haven't seen it throughout this playoff.
Yes, I was going to say it. Look, that's the only thing that I wanted to say because I heard you talk. You are 100% correct. That's what SMU did, and they had a lot of success on it. The end.
Right.
Like
And
that was the only game that I was going to bring up where they spread out the wide receivers, and they were very successful on it. All right, I'm going back because I'm having a nice day.
Okay. And as for the mobile quarterback part, what was that? Okay. As for the mobile quarterback part, I get what you guys are saying about that for Trinidad Chambliss. And to me, it is more offensive scheming, like we were talking about, moving the pocket away from the defensive line. I would be surprised if Trinidad Chambliss is standing in the pocket for a at all a majority of this game on offense. Like
You see
he's
his
going to be
rush yards.
designed. Do what?
You see his rush yards are increased this game where they wasn't last time. You spread them out, the draw play is going to be wide open.
Right.
For him.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't think he's going to rush for 100 yards. That's not what I'm saying. And I completely respect this Miami front. I think they will at least be able to affect his game. And to me, like I said, it is just a matter of being able to spread them out. If it's not on the first two quarters, the latter two quarters. If it's not the third quarter, it's the fourth quarter. I think we'll see that at some point. And Miami's best route to victory is, winning in the secondary, or if the defensive line goes off to an extent that we've seen them do, to be fair, and get him on the quarterback and hit him, 3 or 4 times in the first quarter or the first half, and then get him on the ground 7 times this game. Those are Miami's best 2 routes to success. And I think once you do that, if you're not trying to play catch up on offense, that's where Carson Beck succeeds, when they're in rhythm, when they're running the football. And you're able to do that if Ole Miss isn't scoring 30 points, which I'm not saying they will, but it definitely is an uphill battle if you don't stop the Ole Miss offense from spreading you out.
That is true. That is very true.
I got Trinidad for a 50 ball in rushing.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I actually had his rushing yards pulled up. This season, against pretty solid competition. In LSU, you had 71 rushing yards, Georgia 42, Oklahoma 53, South Carolina 59. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. He goes for 50 plus. I think that's definitely an X factor on Ole Miss's side. The ability for him to run, because we saw it plenty of times against Georgia, just his ability to scramble, around the pocket, not even gain positive yardage on plays, just to extend plays and, kind of put Georgia's secondary in, uncomfortable positions where you're covering guys for 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds, and you just can't do that if you're manning up, for example. So I think that's definitely an X factor on Ole Miss's side. CJ, you just got here. What's up, brother? How are you?
Reed, what's going on, gang? How we doing?
Good, brother. Any thoughts for the game tonight, Ole Miss and Miami?
No, I think y'all pretty much laid it out. I think if anything, if Ole Miss has a chance to win this game, it has to be a shootout. They obviously wanted to be a high-scoring game, so Trinidad, I think the easiest play for him, it's been an auto play for me most of the years since he took over. It's been his pass attempts. I laddered that all the way up to 44. I think if they're going to have to win this game, I don't think they're going to allow Quan Lacey to truly beat them in between the tackles. Obviously, Miami has the better trenches offensively and defensively, in my opinion. So to make it a game, I think Ole Miss and the receivers are going to have to make a few plays. So I think obviously Trinidad's been essentially Superman for that offense. We saw him make some Madden, Mahomes type plays last week versus Georgia. So I think if they have a chance to win this game, he has to be special tonight. So rushing yards, like Mike said, I love that play. His passing yards, pass attempts, I love both of those. If they're going to win this game, Quan Lacey is a hell of a back, but I know he's been dealing with a shoulder injury, and he soldiered his way through it last week versus Georgia. But if he's going to win this game, they're going to be on the arm of Trinidad, in my opinion. So I think anything for his plays are in good tonight. And if Miami wants to win, they wanted to keep it low scoring. So they want to win like 24-20. I think Ole Miss would rather win like 34-30. So that's like the way I think the game script would go. But I think it favors Miami. But my favorite play is definitely Trinidad's pass attempts tonight. That's my favorite play.
For sure. Appreciate that.
Has anybody mentioned Beck's rushing yards? What's his number?
What's the line? Yeah, I haven't even looked at it.
3.5. 3.5.
Oh, goodness.
3.5.
He could fall forward for that.
Guys,
Yeah.
again, we already said it in college football. If you get sacked, it's negative yards. So
Yes.
don't look at 3.5 and think he can fall forward for it.
Sean, do you think he runs the ball more than twice tonight?
Please.
I mean,
How many times do you think he carries the football? And don't forget kneel downs.
I think
it'll be a close game.
Not to cut you off, Sean. I mean, the first play that comes to mind from that Ohio State game, the one where he scrambled and either dove or slid for the first down. I think it was in the second quarter, if I remember correctly. Like, he could get that on one rush, but again, we have to remember that kneel downs and sacks count for the rushing yards. So,
what's the pass rush like for them? Because I'm not really familiar
for
with
Ole Miss.
Pass rush. Yeah, is it really good?
I wouldn't say it's really good, but it's effective.
It's solid. It's not like awful. But
Yeah,
it's not
I wouldn't put it
average.
on the level of Miami's.
They get a lot of sacks though.
Ole Miss.
They need Echoes to have a big game.
Lots of pressures. Lots
Their
of
front
hurries.
seven is better than their secondary. I'll say that for sure. Their secondary looks kind of foolish.
Ole Miss allows 146 rushing yards per game on average and is 62nd in yards allowed per rush at just below 5 yards. That is including sacks.
Yeah, give me that 3.5 rushing yards. I don't care if sacks count against it or not. I mean, I'm taking a chance. The guy shown that he has to escape pressure in the Ohio State game, and I think that Carson Beck's going to do what he has to do to win this football game. So
his line was 1 yard last week, so clearly the books think he's going to run more. It's 3.5 now. So
for sure. One of the things that was standing out for me, like looking into this matchup, was how Miami can create negative plays without having to blitz all the time. And I bring this up because of the main points that Colton was making. Just the amount of weapons that Ole Miss has: Wallace, Stribling, Caden Lee, Kawan Lacey out of the backfield. Like, there's plenty of weapons to go around for Ole Miss. So how effective is Miami's pressure without having to blitz was my biggest thing. Because, yeah, you have Ruben Bain and Mesidor on the edges. And shit, we saw them against Ohio State put both of them on one side, which is almost unstoppable. They could run that almost every play and create at least some pressure on the quarterback, which was insane. I'd never seen that before. So that was one of the biggest question marks for me. If Miami can't hit explosive plays and they get behind the chains, how does that affect them? I know their running game has been really effective with Mark Fletcher. Just in the playoffs alone, he's had 262 yards on 36 carries in 2 games. So he's been really effective. They've had really explosive runs at times that, can be a backbreaker for the opposing defense. So,
hey, Reed,
yeah.
Real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you, but y'all kind of late to the party. This morning, his rushing yards was at 6. Like, I don't know if y'all know that, but it was at 6.
Who?
That's facts. It was at
my Beck.
definitely got up to
Yeah,
6.
Beck. His rushing yard was at 6 this morning.
Oh shit.
Interesting. I'm not taking any player props in either of the games. I just have stuff on a side in the total in both games. So third downs, obviously, in a game of this magnitude are going to be a massive factor. Ole Miss on third downs defensively has an average of 8.5 yards, to go on third down, which is good for 74th in the country. So if you're forcing teams, into third and long positions like that, 3rd and 6 plus, that obviously plays in their favor. Ole Miss, on the other hand, averages around 2-3 yards on 3rd and medium. So, which team has the third down edge? Ole Miss won the third down battle against Georgia, 56%, and Miami won the third down edge against Ohio State at a 58% clip. So, again, if teams can stay in 3rd and short or move the chains on early downs, then that obviously plays into the outcome of the game. What else do I have here? Sorry, I'm scrolling through my notes. Ole Miss's pass defense, again, haven't forced many turnovers. They only forced 8 interceptions on the season, 82nd in the country. As opposed to Miami's side, again, we've all prefaced it, Carson Beck is prone for an interception a time or two, sometimes multiple in the game. So can Ole Miss force a turnover or two from Carson Beck? I know Colton projects that to happen. So, that's obviously a huge factor in the game. And obviously, of course, again, in the game of this magnitude, kickers are going to matter. On FanDuel earlier, you could get over 2.5 field goals in the game at -140. I took that immediately. I think kickers are going to be essential in this game. Ole Miss does have the edge at kicker. I know it's not a famous talking point, but kickers and special teams in general is going to matter in a game of this magnitude. Ole Miss does have the kicking edge with Canario, 27-30 on the season, and hit the game winner against Georgia from 47 last week. So Miami, as we saw in that Texas A&M game, their kicker situation isn't the best. So if it comes down to it, does Miami have to put points up on the board if they get in that position? So all that said, it's gonna sound cliche when I say this, but it's classic coach speak. Defense wins championships. Miami has the better defense in this matchup. This will be the best front seven that Ole Miss has faced all season. I know that we've talked about Ole Miss's SEC best pressure rate. They give up the least amount of pressure in the entire SEC conference. So I think the main two edges, Ruben Bain and Mesidor, are going to cause havoc, in my opinion. I know that Trinidad Chambliss has the ability to scramble, like we've talked about, but I personally believe that Miami has the edge in this matchup just solely because of their defense, and they have shown in the 2 playoff games so far that they have the ability to have successful run plays, have explosive run plays, and then Carson Beck has looked really efficient in the 2 games. Hits a couple passes to Tony, CJ Daniels, and then relieve the pressure with Mark Fletcher on the ground. So I'm going to take Miami in the game. I like them with the 3.5. I like Miami. I projected it 28-24 Miami. So I'm also tailing Sosa. You put out earlier that Miami team total over 27.5 was his favorite play in the game. So I'm tailing that, of course. Again, I view Miami to win the game and advance to the national championship in their own backyard down in Miami Gardens. So anyone else final thoughts on Miami and Ole Miss? We're about 50 minutes to an hour away from kickoff. We're going to get into the other game in just a second. Ghost, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I think a nice little sneaky prop I gave out for a unit that's moved a little bit that I still like is RB2 for Miami. His name is Armar Brown.
Shamar
He's a
Brown, yep.
North Dakota State, I think, transfer or whatever. The over under for rush attempts for Fletcher is 19.5. I think he finished with 19, which was the hook last game. But the funny thing is it was Brown that actually finished out that last drive against Ohio State when they scored. It was him that was on the field. And Cristobal and the offensive coordinator was actually talking after the game like he showed up, he showed his opportunity because this was a guy that was getting like 30 to 40% of the rush share to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
He just lost his carries to Fletcher as the season went on. Like I said, his line opened up at 9.5 rush yards. It's now at 13.5. I laddered it up to 20. I still like the 20. Because my thing is the rushing yards opened up at 138.5. Miami's team rushing yards opened up at 138.5. I'm gonna say that again. 138.5. It is now at 151.5. We've seen Fletcher's line go up like 10 yards in the past week since this game and the props have been open. My thing is that there's a way where they still hit their overall team rushing yards, but it's more kind of spread out and it's not all going to Fletcher. So to me, there's some value betting on Brown in the latter 40, 50 yards if they're fucking thinking that Miami as a team is going to get 150 rushing yards.
Hey, Ghost, if you want good value, you can get Jamar Browns. I took his ATD at plus 300.
I like that.
What book?
I got it at FanDuel. I took it last week, like you said, when the line's open, because he scored the last touchdown. So I figured either him or Fletcher's ATD was super juice. I just tried to find value.
I don't hate that as well. I don't hate that as well, just solely because Fletcher will get the bulk carries on the possession down the field, and then they'll put in Brown in the red zone. I like that. I like that for sure. For sure. Again, any final thoughts on this game? Ghost, Mike Jones, CJ. Drama, you're up here as well. Haven't heard you talk at all. If you have any thoughts, plays on the game.
Yeah, if they can get that, go ahead, Drama.
No, I really don't have too much in this game. I'm really just a spectator. I ain't gonna lie. I like both sides. I like the story for Trinidad, and I like Miami defensive line. I am probably gonna tell Ghost on that rushing yards, and I might take him for ATD. Just because y'all had mentioned it. I think that is a good look, especially with what your explanation goes. So I'm gonna rock with it.
Yeah, I'm taking that right now as we speak. Okay, while I am placing this,
I'm right here. Listen, if he can find a way to manage, complete third downs and get this defense a little bit gas, like it's gonna turn into a different game.
who are we talking about?
He talking about Ole Miss in the tempo,
He's talking
right,
about Ole
Mike?
Miss.
Okay,
Make it
yeah.
fast paced game. Make it a
Yeah,
track
that's
meet.
true.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a cagey affair, especially in the first half. Like, I didn't even look. What's the first half total? I could see this be like a 10.
I think it was at 27 and a half.
Oh my god, I could see this be like a 10-7 game at halftime. I'm not going to lie. Just solely because I don't think, at least in my opinion, I don't think these play callers offensively are going to want to take risks, at least in the first quarter. So like potentially I could see the first quarter be scoreless, and then we get some action in the second quarter, leading to the under.
It's crazy. Like regardless, like they're gonna get a Big Ten team, right?
Yep.
And with the championship, do any of y'all guys think there's a narrative that they want an SEC team, like in it? And like think about the storyline if Ole Miss like goes in it. Like the storylines are gonna be crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like the media is gonna be fucking crazy. The only thing that we have, with Miami is like from fucking thugs to Christians, I guess you can say. Finally back together.
Wow. Wow.
And they get to play at home for the championship. That'd be cool too.
Yeah.
That's really the only thing that would be cool.
And I'd actually argue the opposite, Mike, because don't you think Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss is like basically exploiting or showing to the world
Man,
how
respectfully,
fucked
Lane
up
Kiffin
the
can eat a dick.
I mean, I'm just saying it's making fun of the NCAA schedule.
No, fuck Lane Kiffin. He ain't got shit to do with this at all.
Damn, Mike, what happened? Are you?
No, I kind of
Twitter. Fuck him.
No, I agree. I agree with Mike. I mean, we've seen it from Ole Miss the last few weeks. They're playing like a team that's pissed off. They're playing like a team that, lost their head coach and didn't have to leave, and he chose to leave.
All I'm saying is, if you guys are right. I'm just saying if Ole Miss wins tonight, we probably go get Lane Kiffin a part of the broadcast crew for the championship.
Not a chance in hell.
No,
not
no
a
way.
chance in fucking hell. Not bet anything.
ESPN would not allow that.
I'm trolling y'all. I'm trolling.
That would be crazy though.
You know what? I hope so. That would be the biggest regret of his fucking life. The biggest.
Hey,
y'all don't even think he would go to the game?
Like how many? How long has he been divorced? Imagine getting divorced, and then your fucking team that you fucking left, you wanted to divorce them, and they fucking win because his ex-wife won too. You'd be 0-2 within 2 years.
Dude's bringing his personal life in.
Hey, Mike, respectfully, I feel like Lane Kiffin don't give a fuck because he gonna still collect that paycheck at the end of the day.
Man, fuck that. Money will always come. Championships don't.
That's a fact.
Mm.
That's a fact. All right, before we continue on to the other semifinal game, let me turn everyone's attention to the Jumbotron real quick. Again, Sosa and Roddy are live with Paid for Play right now on Sosa's page. The tweet is up in the Jumbotron. Make sure to go check that out. They are giving away best bets for both the semifinal games. Go like and repost that. The second to last tweet in the Jumbo, I am doing a giveaway with Outlier. If you just follow both pages, like and repost that tweet, and reply who you think is going to be going to the national championship game. That's all you got to do. You will get a free 3-month pass to Outlier Premium. It's a great resource. I use it for every game, every college football bet that I make. I at least double check it on Outlier. It's a great resource. So if you want to have a chance to win a free 3-month pass to Outlier Premium, just go check out that tweet. All the rules are up there. And of course, we have 43 people in here. Would greatly appreciate a follow. and a like and repost of the space. Flood, I see you're requesting. Would just appreciate a follow, and then we'll let you up here. All right, gentlemen. It sucks that Sean went away because I really wanted his opinion, even though I clearly knew which side he was going to go with. The second semifinal game, we have the number 1 seeded Indiana Hoosiers taking on the 5th seeded Oregon Ducks. This is a rematch of a regular season game in which Indiana won 30-20. This is taking place in Atlanta at the Peach Bowl. This is tomorrow night at 7:30. Indiana is favored by 3.5. The total is at 48.5. Just to set the table, Indiana got here by getting a first round bye as the Big Ten champion, and then actually beat the shit out of Alabama in the Rose Bowl, 38-3. On the other hand, Oregon took care of JMU in the first round at home, and then shut out Big 12 champion Texas Tech in the second round at the Orange Bowl, 23-0. Keys to the game for me is really which team plays clean, because I feel like there's going to be some, bad blood in this game, just mainly because Oregon lost the first matchup on their home turf, and they really did not look good in that first matchup against Indiana. But again, it has to be said, Curt Cignetti is a madman. He is a psychopath. Then again, he is going against a fellow psychopath in Dan Lanning. So Oregon, went for it on 3rd and 4th down, took their shots on those late downs a lot in the matchup against Texas Tech. Do they continue to take those shots in this matchup against a team that can, attack you on the other side offensively? I feel like they knew Texas Tech didn't really do anything offensively against them. Indiana can, affect you offensively. So do you take those risks on 4th down deep in Indiana territory, or do you settle for the points? I personally think they will settle for the points. Just real quick from that earlier matchup in the season, Indiana finished with 6 sacks in the game compared to Oregon's 1. Indiana also rushed for 199 yards, whereas Oregon only had 87. So does Indiana have the same recipe, force a lot of pressure on Dante Moore, put him in uncomfortable spots, able to force him into 3rd and longs, force him into passing downs? And does Indiana keep up their strong run game? They've had a top 5 rushing attack all season with Roman Hemby and Kaylon Black. So does that keep up in this matchup? Again, I think Oregon has a slight, edge to them personally. I only think that because 1, they did lose the earlier matchup, and 2, they're playing with their hair on fire. I feel like they come out and try to make a point that they feel like they're the underdog, and they play like they're the underdog. They play with their hair on fire. And I personally think that gives the edge to them in this spot, just solely based on, the thought that Oregon, plays like the underdog. And I feel like Dan Lanning just promotes that for his team. I'm going to lean in this spot, Indiana, just solely because I think Indiana at this point, we can't doubt them anymore. I cannot bet against Indiana. I can't go against Indiana. Indiana is solely in a spot that I have to see them lose to believe it, that they can lose. I have to see it to believe it. And I'm not going against Cignetti. I've done it before. I've done it before this season, and I'm not doing it again. I took Oregon in this first matchup this season, and I'm not doing it again. I'm taking Indiana. It's hard to beat the same team twice in 1 year. I think Indiana does it here. I like Indiana 21-17. I think it's a really low scoring game. I think both defenses stand out here. I think Dante Moore is put in some uncomfortable positions. Again, Indiana had 6 sacks in the first matchup. They wreaked havoc on Ty Simpson last week, forced him out due to injury. So I think Dante Moore is put in some uncomfortable positions. Indiana's plus 18 turnover margin shows here. And I like the Hoosiers 21-17. I will take Indiana with the points, minus the 3.5. We'll go to Drama with his hand up, and then we'll go to Hurricane because his team plays here in a little bit, and he just got here. So Drama.
Yeah, for this game, I'll make it real quick because I know Hurricane, he going to have something for his team. Give me the under for the game. We know about Indiana defense. I agree with you 100% about Oregon defense. I think as of lately, they have been coming on pause and been playing a lot better overall. So just give me the under for that game. I also think I want to ask you guys, when is Oregon traveling to Atlanta? Because I think that also is going to play a
I
effect in why
believe
I
they
chose
got there
under.
yesterday.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, maybe even the under first quarter, just to kind of fill each other out. Pause, but yeah, give me the under.
I also forgot to mention I'm also on the under. Clearly, if you couldn't tell with my score prediction. Hurricane, you there?
Yo, Reed, man, what's up? What's up, man? I told you I was gonna stop by.
What's up, brother?
Nothing much, man. Keep it short and simple. So, what I'm playing in this game tonight, everybody, on the Blue Book on FanDuel Sportsbook, you can get the boost. I'm pretty sure you get boost on the other books too.
Mhm.
Let's go ahead and do a Miami defense anytime touchdown. I'm getting at a plus 650 with the boost. I get it at a 850. And I'm just gonna rock out like that because I already got a future. But let's go, Canes. Everybody have a good night.
No, I need some authority in that voice. I need a big go Canes. Pause.
Reed, man, I'm chilling. I got the fam here. I've been drinking beer. I'm chilling, man. But yeah, I'm gonna do the defensive Miami defensive anytime touchdown.
All right, I'll do it for you. Go Canes. Yes, sir.
Hey, go Canes. Y'all have a good night, everybody.
This is the one and only time I will say that. No, I appreciate you stopping
Peace
by.
out.
Appreciate you stopping by for
Yes,
sure.
sir. Yes, sir.
And good luck tonight for sure. All right. Also forgot to mention with the Oregon game, their lead back, Jordan Davison, is going to be out for this game. Thought that was worth a mention. So it's going to be a bulk of the carries on Whittington for the Oregon offense. CJ, coming over to you. Thoughts on Indiana and Oregon?
No, a lot of the same sentiments as you, Reed. I like the under for sure. I think both defenses come to play. Obviously, both coaches know each other very well after the matchup earlier in the year. This kind of been an auto play for me. I've been playing this probably since that Penn State, unfortunately, Reed. Sorry. I'm going to do Charlie Becker, longest reception, and Charlie Becker, anytime touchdown.
Dude, yep.
Anytime they need a big play,
can't go
they go
against
to him.
it.
So
I can't go against it.
Anytime they need a big play, he usually converts, whether it be in the red zone or if they get in the green zone and they get anywhere 40 and in, 30 and in. They usually look to him naturally because Surratt usually draw out the number one corner. Cooper makes plays as well, but I don't know how he keeps sneaking through coverage and getting one-on-ones, which should never happen, but he just does. So
he's ridiculous.
That's my favorite play in that game. And for Oregon side, yeah, you said Davis is not playing. So, same as last week. Noah Whittington take his rush attempts over. I think he cashed it last week on the baseline. And then probably
I was about to say, because what was it last week? Like 13 and a half?
Yep, 13 and a half.
Yeah.
So he cashed. And then I like Dante Moore to throw a pick for sure. I know both guys do picks in this game naturally, but like you said, Cignetti's a madman. I think he's going to come up with something via game plan. And I didn't like the way Oregon came out offensively last week versus Texas Tech. Granted, Texas Tech has an amazing defense as well, but I think if you showed some bad tendencies and didn't try to be as aggressive, maybe force a throw or two, I think Indiana will do that. So those are my favorite plays. Charlie Becker, longest reception. I'm going to see what that line is at. I know it's been moving. But the last couple weeks, I've been getting it around like 18 and a half or 19 and a half. So I'm going to see where it's at for this game. But that's my favorite plays for sure.
Yeah, I don't hate the Dante Moore pick. I mean, I agree. I think the Indiana defense puts him in some uncomfortable positions. He'll force a throw or two. And yeah, I mean, that's a recipe for an interception for sure. Drama went CJ. Colton, you just got back up here. Thoughts on Indiana and Oregon?
Are we talking plays or just like game preview?
Anything?
Do you have Onyx up? What is Dante Moore's passing yards right now?
I'm pulling up Onyx as we speak. I was also looking for Charlie Becker's longest reception. CJ, I see it's at 22.5.
Sheesh, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't hate the look. And I was going to mention about Charlie Becker just because it's crazy. They got him from right down the street in Indianapolis, and he's Mendoza's roommate. So just, I mean, I don't know, bro. Just some random white dude can, go off and be the best receiver on that team at times. Colton, I'm pulling it up. Onyx is being slow for me. So if you have anything else.
Well, depending on what it is, because if it's like super low, then I would say don't take the under. But I would, if it's what his usually are at, I would say more under pass yards, and that's even with the script being slanted probably towards his volume with Davison out. Just because, I mean, Indiana faced one of the higher volume pass offenses last week, and obviously we saw what happened. As for just preview, you take Oregon, who just had a super inefficient win against Texas Tech, who has an elite defense, and matched them up with Indiana, who has an elite defense and a much better offense than Texas Tech. I like Oregon's explosivity. With Davison being out, you take away what has been one of the most reliable red zone go-to threats. So that doesn't lend well towards their touchdown scoring upside. And Indiana's just been a machine. They're super efficient. They're not airing it out like Oregon has at times this season, but they're getting down the field and not really struggling to do so. So I think this is a very, very good Indiana game. I think I had it at 27-20 Indiana. It might be low scoring just because depending on how successful the Oregon offense is, if Oregon can match Indiana and force them to up the tempo, then we could see, I think, a game like we saw last time where they got to over 50. But if I had to, do you have the over under right now?
Yeah, it was set at 29.5.
Oh, for more?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I would take more under despite, the script obviously going volume. And then the game total.
Total is at 48.5.
Okay, that's about, that makes a lot of sense. I was going to say like 23-20, 24-20, something in there. I don't even know if Indiana's defense has been as good as Miami's, I feel like, and it's been less of a thing. How good Miami's has been. And Miami's has been good, and they've only rushed 4, and Indiana's been more, as a unit, been very successful. So I get it. But Indiana's defense is right up there with Miami. I think it could end up being like a I don't think it'll be Alabama because Oregon's offense is more balanced, but I mean, you're talking about an Indiana team who's gives up one of the least amount of explosive plays in the country, and Oregon living off the explosive. You're talking about Dante Moore, who is my number 1 quarterback in the draft if he declares, has all the mechanical upside, the build upside to be one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League, but at this moment isn't elite at reading coverages. He can hit receivers. He's very accurate, but just that aspect of his game is not as elite as I think a lot of people think it is. So I think Indiana all around is much better than Oregon. I think Indiana wins probably. I think the spread is Indiana. Is it 3.5 still?
Yes, sir.
So I would take Indiana minus 3.5.
Yeah, I'm also on Indiana 3.5. Also like the under. I had it at 21-17. I think it's just a stalemate for a while. It might get boring for words in the first half. Like you might not get any scoring. It might be 7-0, 3-3, something of that nature in the first half for me personally.
I could see that, but I think Indiana I think the risk of the over under and why I didn't say anything really about that because it's right where it should be in my opinion is because I think there is a scenario where we have Indiana be able to score like 35 points and it'd be like 35-17 or something. I'm not saying that will happen, but I definitely could see if we saw them score, that many 38 against Alabama, who has a very good defense. And Oregon's, I struggle to say Oregon's is much better than Alabama's. They're at least on par. I like Oregon has a ton of talent. I don't want to say they're not talented, but I think Indiana's just on they're, like I said, they're a machine. They're not I wouldn't say they're like Ole Miss where they could put up 600 yards and 48 points, but they're hard to stop. They're just super efficient. They're like Miami in that their rhythm, but Fernando Mendoza also has at least some kind of mobility. He's not a mobile quarterback, but he's been able to extend drives with his legs in this postseason, especially. I just like Indiana, where Indiana is currently way more than I like where Oregon's at, especially without Davison.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually pulling something up because we were talking about it. I was looking at first quarter. So the first quarter total is at 9.5. Do we really think 10 points were put up in the first quarter?
If I had to bet it, I say no.
Yeah, I don't think.
Fumbles and pick sixes, things you just can't predict. So.
Yeah, and you're getting plus money for that, plus 105 on DraftKings right now. So, but don't hate that. I'm just scrolling.
If you want to go spicy, read first quarter, correct score 0-0 is plus 1,200.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm just scrolling through DraftKings right now. Again, I'm not taking any player props in either game. There's too much variability that could happen. Just like we were talking about with Charlie Becker, he could go for 120 and a touchdown, or he could get one catch for 6. Like there's too much variability in my opinion in either game. If anyone in the listeners has any plays or thoughts, questions about either game, feel free to put it in the chat, or you're welcome to come up and speak. We're kind of just killing time right now, waiting for the game. I was going to stay live for the game, live bet it potentially. Also, just think it'd be cool to just chill out. Got nothing else to do, so. Correct score. I'm pulling that up now because you brought it up, CJ. First score, correct score. Bro, what'd you say that was? 1,200, CJ?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me check. My fault. I think I was looking at the game tonight. Let me see the game tomorrow. I know tonight was plus 1,200.
Okay, yeah. Tomorrow is plus 550. Correct score 0-0.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I took the full game under for both games, so that fits my narrative. See, it's really tough to do a show like this when there's only 2 games to talk about.
I know it's like you want to take time to talk about both of them. You almost want to save your takes for tomorrow until tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I said everything I had. Yeah, I mean, I personally can't go against Indiana. Like I got to see them lose before. I got to know they're human before, I go
Not for
against them.
sure, because I stopped betting against Indiana after that game versus y'all Reed. I'm like, bro, they destined, bro, because there was no way they should have lost to y'all that day. Literally no way. Or they should have won. I was like,
I mean,
y'all were up. They were up the whole game. Had like less than 30 seconds. Took like a miracle catch. He touched the blade of grass.
To be fair, Penn State did lose a lot of games they shouldn't have this year.
But that one specifically, though, I was like, they should have won that game, bro.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me, Colton. Thanks. For
Yeah, well, UCLA.
Okay, all right, bro. All right, bro. Relax, relax, bro. Chill. Man,
after that, and then what they did to Ohio State, bro, I'm like, it sounds like this Indiana team is destined, bro. They about to.
I need to like go on a walk.
Shock the whole football world.
I need to like go get some air.
Colin's
trying to give me flashbacks, yo. I'm gonna have a panic
PTSD out here.
Yeah, for real, bro. Why'd you do that to me, Colin, bro? Oh, well, CJ, you weren't here the other night. You got in the, Tuesday we only talked about, all the portal drama. Do you have any thoughts on everything with the portal going on right now?
Man, it's like NFL free agency out here. Who got the biggest bag, honestly? This remind me of that Damon Williams situation.
Oh my goodness, bro!
It was like there was a guy
actually
with the Cowboys. I forgot what team it was. He signed a contract that morning, and then that night backed out and signed with somebody else.
Yeah,
literally the same exact thing.
I didn't even think. Yeah, shit. We got to talk about that. That's like the biggest news outside of the games right now. So if anyone has not been paying attention, Damon Williams, Washington quarterback, signed a contract with Washington. I think it's now like 5-6 days ago. Went into the portal, was rumored that LSU was going to be a major player for him. And now Washington is not fulfilling his request of going into the portal and is keeping him basically hostage. They're basically trying to hold him to his word of that contract that he signed. And his lawyer, not his lawyer, his representation dropped him, like his agent. And then his lawyer is like staying with him, but then Washington is wanting to pursue legal action because obviously it's a breach of contract. So I don't even know what to make of it anymore. But this isn't college football, bro. Like we need to chill with all this legal shit. I'm all for players getting paid, but there's gotta be a point that we draw the line in the sand. Like enough's enough, in my opinion. Like this is getting ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, I think this is this situation specifically is a necessary evil though, because beforehand it was like, oh well, agents, they're kind of slimy, they're ruining, they're making poor choices for the kids, whatnot. But I feel like this is the straw that will hopefully break the camel's back in terms of the adults of college football, the leaders of college football being like, okay, this is getting out of hand. Like this kind of situation where, it's a contract. I don't know what it's legally binding, so you can't just break a contract. There's no loophole. This is the kind of thing that will hopefully get the people who can make meaningful change in the sport to either ban legal representation. I know the legal representation in this case maybe wasn't the problem, but you hear horror stories of kids entering the portal without any kind of legal knowledge and getting screwed over by their legal teams and then ending up in much worse situations. So hopefully this as insane of a story as this is, I feel like it was kind of needed at this point for hopefully a change that will help us usher in a new era with more guardrails for these kids. Hopefully, including some rules like I think Reed brought it up the other day about transferring out of your conference. Maybe adding a transfer limit, because if you're transferring every season, that's obviously not a great thing. You got, I think, are we at 5,000 yet, or did it kind of cap out at 4,000 total players in the portal?
I think it
That's
capped out around 4,000.
and at least 40% of those aren't going to end up in better situations. So we need people who understand that it is the grass. We say the grass isn't always greener. Sometimes it is. You see guys go into the portal and make millions of dollars. You're like, oh wow, I'm a guy who I feel like is underutilized at my school right now. I'm gonna go either start somewhere or make more money somewhere, and then you come out of the other end at West Georgia making pennies on the dime because you were completely overvalued, and the legal advice or the advice you got from somebody who's supposed to be an authority figure or a leader in your life didn't understand really anything that they were talking about. We're just gassing you up, and then you end up in a much worse situation. So hopefully we can. This is the necessary thing that allows us to add guardrails to the transfer portal to NIL, because NIL is a whole different thing. We can get into that about like some teams just don't play by the rules, and I feel like LSU, a team who I would assume with their comically evil head coach Lane Kiffin being the perpetrator of Damon Williams breaking his contract and then entering the portal. There's just some teams that have no interest in playing by the rules that they were given because the NCAA doesn't enforce anything. You know, they're scared to death that the Oilers who fund Texas Tech's NIL are going to come after the NCAA if they're like, oh, you breached this, and then come at them a million different ways, and it'll end up in the NCAA having to dissolve or change something meaningfully or in another lawsuit that they don't want to deal with. So,
yeah, for sure. Kind of breaking news. I mean, FAML just said on game day that Damon Williams is leaning towards a return to Washington. So, I mean, yeah, because he probably doesn't want to get sued for millions of dollars that he doesn't have. Again, the whole situation is just ridiculous to me in general. Like this isn't college football, bro. Like I agree with you, Colton. I think this whole situation with Damon is going to, have ramifications for the sport as a whole. It's going to lead to more guidelines. It's going to lead to, some restrictions being had with the portal in general. Like if you enter the portal, you're gonna, have some repercussions. Like if you try to back out of your deal. So
I also think the way the transfer portal used to work is you got one. Correct me if I'm wrong. You got one transfer and you had to sit out a year.
yes.
Before you could play. I feel like you could do a similar thing and do after your first transfer that isn't either like after your redshirt season. So if you're a redshirt freshman going on redshirt sophomore and your coaching staff didn't change, you get one free redshirt or one free transfer. Sorry, and then that kind of thing to where you get it's keeping players to stay at least through their first couple seasons or through their redshirt season, and then allowing them an opportunity if it's not working out to go seek other things, but to be more deliberate and really evaluate their situation. So if it's a redshirt freshman, if Bob McBoberson is at Georgia and he goes in as a freshman and stays a year, gets redshirted, and now he's looking at the next season, and Georgia's like, yeah, we were going to offer you this, or we were going to give you playing time, but with what we brought in, I don't know if we're going to do that. Then he can go and evaluate. He can go put tape that he has out and probably go down a level, or can stay through and then wait to make that transfer till later on in his career when he does have more experience and he's come up through the system, or else it leads to stuff like this where you're having players come in for a season as a freshman, not even make it to campus, and then transfer out some of the time.
Yeah, for sure. Brutus, what's up, brother?
Yeah, I didn't know if you were taking bets on Onyx, but wanted to give you my best bet.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm on FanDuel using the 30% profit boost. You're gonna have to pay some change, but I went Miami plus 7.5. I alternate, and then I alternate the total points under 64.5 points. All right. You combine those two with the profit boost, you get minus 141. I know you're going to have to pay some juice, but I love this bet. Miami, Florida plus 7.5, and you got to alternate, and then under 64.5 points. You can combine those by alternating it with that 30% profit boost on FanDuel. You'll get minus 141. I think Miami's going to win outright, but as we know, we don't like to get beat by the hook. I like to have more than a touchdown. And I think, obviously the under with the defense with Miami, it's really low. I mean, it's in the 50s, upper 50s, but I wanted to under it. I wanted to protect myself with the 64.5. I know it's minus 141 with that profit boost, but I think that's a lock, man. I just do. I think, and I also on a separate bet, I took Miami plus 13. I took over 13.5 points in the first half. I think Miami can get at least 14 points in the first half. But I appreciate them sitting back. I love the talk. I'm going to sit back. You can take me off there, and I'm going to sit back and listen to you guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother. I don't hate that bet either. I mean, minus 140 isn't crazy juiced odds, so I definitely don't hate that for sure. Little Tenor Bill, what's up, brother? What you got?
How's it going, guys? Good games tonight and tomorrow. I'm looking forward to them.
Yes, sir.
The transfer portal. I'm in a minority where I'm not disagreeing with the transfer portal. I think there's a lot of positives, and I'm against putting the different limitations of a year here or 2 years there or staying or whatever. For a couple of reasons. There's so many kids that get undervalued or under recruited, so they got to start somewhere. And they got 4 years, maybe 5 years to kind of figure it out, and they have that end goal. Maybe their goal was to play in a Power Four. Maybe their end goal was to play in the SEC, and that's what they're trying to get to and do. Maybe their goal is just playing time. I mean, there's so many different reasons why these kids may or may not be looking to transfer. It could be the coaching change. It could be a head coach. It could be an internal coach. I mean, there's a million good reasons why these kids are transferring. I think some of them are obviously just going for the money, and I think that's what people are kind of focusing on. But it really is a small percentage out of all the kids that are in the transfer portal. Sure, kids are looking to get more money and stuff, but I think they want fair and they want value.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against the portal either. I just think there has to be, some guidelines, some strict guidelines that, players have to follow. Like one of the things that I've been proposing personally is if you are going to transfer, you can't transfer to a team in your conference. I think that's pretty straightforward. I think it's similar to soccer in some ways. I know not everyone follows soccer, but there was a thing called financial fair play where
but they changed that. That was a one-time thing that they got rid of.
Yeah, like it's like soccer. There's a thing called financial fair play. Like it's basically like the cap. If you go over the cap, you get penalized like in the standings. So I think if a player goes into the transfer portal, they can't go to a team in their conference. I think if a player transfers to another team, then you have to pay like a transfer fee to the school that the player is coming from. Like, say, for example, just because you're a Michigan guy. So Bryce Underwood.
Sure.
If Bryce Underwood goes in the portal, and just for sake of example, he goes to Ohio State. I know you would hate that, but still, like, just for example,
Sure.
Michigan would have to pay, or Ohio State would have to pay Michigan to buy him out of his contract, and therefore he could go to Ohio State. So I just think there has to be some guidelines that are put in place. Is my point.
Not disagreeing.
Yeah, I would also say for what I was saying, I don't dislike the portal either. I think it's obviously there are a lot of goods, but I feel like currently with the system we have in place here is a lot more bad outweighing the good.
Mhm.
So everything you were talking about is the best parts of it, but the worst parts and why I was talking about the idea of the rule that I thought would be good for implementation is that you see a ton of underclassmen, first couple years within the program, underdeveloped guys go into the portal thinking that they can go and start at maybe a lower program or a different program, or they'll at least get looks from other programs, not necessarily wanting money, just money out of it. But what ends up happening is these underdeveloped guys don't get a ton of looks, either because they don't have tape, or obviously they're underdeveloped, so they're not going to want to take a 250-pound defensive tackle because they don't want to have to develop a guy. They want proven guys out of the portal. And you might see somebody at a lower level pick up a guy like that, but obviously people are going to want to go for people with starts, or at least people who have played in games. So if you create a rule where players are incentivized, or at least within the guidelines made to be within a program and get developed a little bit before having really an opportunity to enter the portal, you give them that ability to at least get built up at, say, an Oregon or a Georgia or a Michigan. And once they're in that program a couple years, then okay, I'm not getting the kind of opportunities I want. I'm not getting the financial benefits that I think I deserve. Then I can go and take a look, maybe go to a smaller school or get picked up and get developed at a different, larger school.
Kids want to play.
That is the simple fact. Kids just want to play. I think the biggest positive out of the portal, it's creating a lot of parity in the sport. I mean, look at the 4 teams left tonight and tomorrow. All 4 teams have transfer quarterbacks. Like, it's just making the playing field a lot more, even.
The G6 and the FCS kids are playing, and they're getting experience, and I think they're finding that, kids that have played 3 years at that lower level are more serviceable than that freshman or sophomore.
Yeah.
Correct. And I think one of the best benefits of it is people being able to, or I guess talent being able to evaluate themselves at that level, so they're not going and immediately going to a D1 FBS Power 4 school and then not playing for 3 years and getting underdeveloped. And then you look at Marcus Stokes. Marcus Stokes was a guy who was at, I believe, West Florida last year. Now he's at Memphis. Trinidad Chambliss, obviously, everybody knows him. It's more beneficial to play even at a smaller school who doesn't have the resources, obviously, of some of the upper echelon teams, but that experience is crucial in their development. So that is, I think, why having those guidelines to where you're keeping players within a program, even though it might not mean they play for the first couple seasons, at least is getting them developed enough to go down maybe a level or two and be able to succeed at those places. And then if they're not evaluating themselves at that, maybe, the rules that I'm talking about will help them kind of be able to assess themselves more realistically and not get screwed over.
So in my backyard, I'm in Springfield, Massachusetts. Massachusetts is not a hotbed for football, but we had a kid, Pop Watson, who was a Massachusetts Player of the Year. He committed to West Virginia, which was a big deal for Division I Power 4 from Springfield, Mass, to go to West Virginia. A couple of months before he was to commit, or a month before the commit, the coach at West Virginia got fired. So then he ended up at Virginia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
He redshirts his freshman year. They bring in 2 transfers from like Texas Tech, one from Texas Tech, one from somebody else. So they over recruited him. Now the Virginia the Tech coach gets fired. They bring in Franklin. So now he's transferring again, and he's got 2 games under his belt. He's got 2 years of eligibility. And I'm sure the kid's just dying to play.
Yeah, I think the rule that we have right now, where if your coach leaves, that you should get a free transfer. I think that is still a good rule,
Yeah,
because obviously you sign
that
up
is
to
good
play
rule.
4 coaches. Yeah,
For sure. All right. I think we're going to drop off here. I think we're going to go watch this game. If I do take anything live, I will put it on the timeline. But again, appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. Colton, Bill, appreciate you coming up to speak, brother.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Do the Georgia fans want Ole Miss, or do they want Carson Palmer?
Carson Beck?
Yes, correct. Carson Beck.
I don't know. I wish Roddy was here because he is a Georgia fan, so we could have asked him. But I would have to think they're rooting for their conference now. I don't know. That's a great point. This is kind of like the Georgia hate game. So
also big signing that you put up there for Michigan.
Yeah, that is a huge signing for Michigan. John Henry Daly going to the Wolverines.
I am so fired up right now. Thanks, guys, for putting that up there.
Beast, absolute beast.
Yeah, I mean,
we couldn't have gotten any luckier with our coaching situation, transition, and who we got. I couldn't be happier.
Amen, brother.
They're holding the fort down.
Amen, brother. I'm a Penn State guy. You think after our shit show that I'm not happy with Matt Campbell?
He's doing a great job, right? He's bringing the Iowa State kids over.
Yeah, now he's going and getting other players from portal. We just got another defensive tackle from Utah committed today to us. So
nice.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Well, again, appreciate everyone tuning in. Hopefully we make some money tonight. Again, I'm on Miami -3.5. Also like the total under in the game. For myself, Reed Napper, host of Love for the Game. Appreciate everyone tuning in. This has been the College Football Preview Show. We'll be back maybe tomorrow. We might do something tomorrow for the game tomorrow night. We'll see. Just stay tuned to the timeline. Have the notifications on for sure. And yeah, we will see you guys in the near future. Appreciate everyone. We'll see you.